Hi everyone, welcome to Honey Drops Tarot. This is a reading for the collective. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your likes, shares, and subscribes. I truly appreciate it. Just a quick note, please do not fall for any scammers. I will never reach out to solicit for a private reading. I do offer private readings, and if you're interested in signing up for one of those or in making a donation, you can find that information in my Buy Me a Coffee link, my official Instagram and TikTok, all listed in the About section of my YouTube page. And I thank you so much in advance. Collective, I hope that you are doing well. I'm going to be doing the series for the end of the month, and they're all going to be collective readings because I just wanted to change the energy up a little bit. So this reading is all about conquering the obstacle, conquering the obstacle in your life. So I'm going to be using two decks for your reading today. I'm going to be using for the overall energy the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck just to determine that. And then I'm actually going to be using an Oracle deck for the majority of the reading, which will come from the Citadel Fantasy Oracle. So the cards have been pre-shuffled. This is for the collective. What is the overall energy? And this is going to describe your greatest strength right now. If we're trying to overcome obstacles, this is what Spirit deems your greatest strength. Two cards came out. Let's see. You got the Nine of Swords, but it came out with the Knight of Cups. And this is quite beautiful because it's almost like Spirit is saying all of this anxiety and worry that you have is kind of transmuting or transforming into something that you can use, some way that you're able to now communicate. It's like all the past pain or worry or preoccupation with something, you've had time to mull it over, to consider it, to work through any challenges regarding these worries. And now you're in the space of communication, because the Knights of the Tarot always talk about kind of bringing forth something, either a message or an offer. And the Knight of Cups, he talks about somebody who is incredibly authentic. It's a Cups card, so we're speaking from the heart space. So there's something here, I feel as though you have really evolved away, because the cards themselves are very, very starkly different in terms of how they're lit. This is a very dark palette, and there's a lot of blue in the background here, open sky. This feels very confining. This feels like open sky. So it's kind of like you've now evolved into something where you're able to more fully express yourself. That seems really important. So I'm going to put these cards on the table. I'm going to have three piles. The first pile is going to be, what is the actual challenge that you're going through right now? Pile 2 is going to be, what is the lesson? And pile 3, advice from Spirit. So this is for the collective, please, Spirit. Angel, spirits, guides, messages do you have for the collective? Just going to get these cards out. I'm going to pull clarifiers as well as we go throughout the reading. So just bear with me, because I've never done this spread before, so it will be interesting to see. Okay. All right. So I have three piles, 6 cards out on the table. What is the challenge? You have the Priest, perseverance, faith. So, and it's clarified by the King, control and reversal of fortune. Control and reversal of fortune. So I think immediately when I saw this, I thought of the Hierophant card of the Major Arcana. Something, I think it has to do with, I think the biggest challenge right now has to do with a narrative that has been presented to you your entire life. It could have been something that you grew up with, right? Some kind of story that has been either passed down to you or told to you, either from a religious, spiritual standpoint, or perhaps it's just about a family history, could have to do with this word perseverance. Like, okay, Spirit's giving me an example of somebody that who's told me about their family background, that they come from very blue collar family background. Their family were service workers, or public servants rather, and they've grown up with this sense of pride about that. And this particular person did not follow that path, or has not thus far. It's not to say that they won't follow the path into public service, into law enforcement or something like that, but they haven't done that so far. And I think that it's caused somewhat of a challenge or a rift within their heart, that they're not fulfilling a family legacy or a family tradition, some kind of carrying on of the mantle, right? Picking up the mantle, picking up the sword, and carrying on that legacy. Spirit is giving me that person and that example for a reason. That there's something that maybe someone has told you, you haven't lived up to some kind of expectation within the family or within the faith, right? Like if you emanate from a very religious background, or even, it doesn't have to be necessarily religious, but a background where it's very prevalent, and you have decided to take a different path and not take up the mantle. Because the sword, for me, I see the sword pointed down, so it's kind of like it still has yet to be wielded. So there could be something in that for you that's causing a lot, or has caused a lot of anxiety. You know, maybe comparison energy. I'm not good enough, or I never went down that path, that occupation, and now, you know, maybe you are being ridiculed is the word that Spirit just gave me. Ridiculed for your life choices. I'm seeing these words, reversal of fortune. You know, somebody could have been commenting to you, you know, if you had just become a doctor like your brother and sister, you wouldn't be in this situation right now. Something like that. That's just an example. And so I can understand why, if somebody is resonating with this message, I can understand why that would be troublesome, worrisome to you. And then there's this sense of these two characters, just as figureheads, a priest and a king, carry with them a tremendous amount of authority. And because we're looking at the challenge position, you could be challenging the status quo, challenging the authority figures in your life. Spirit also just gave me the example of perhaps you have reached a certain level of authority, but you yourself are challenging that. So another scenario that is presenting itself right now is you've come into a position of power, but for some reason you do not feel, it's really weird. When I said you came into a position of power, I heard somebody like down the street just scream at the top of their lungs. So that's not coincidental. I was trying to talk through it, but I was like, no, I have to mention that. It's almost like a sense of frustration, right? So you've come into a lot of authority or power, and maybe you're questioning that, like, who gave me this power, or I don't want this responsibility. Okay, so I'm going to pull a clarifier. I'm actually going to pull a clarifier from I'm going to pull clarifier from the Oracle deck. I'm going to stick to the Oracle. Let's pull a clarifier for the challenge position. Thank you, Spirit. Huh. Sheesh. Okay, well, you got the puppeteer. You got the puppeteer. That is insane to me. Explanations and apologies. Do you feel as though you are the puppet or the pawn in somebody's game, in somebody's story? You know, you are trying to be the, maybe you're trying to be the main character and somebody else is like, no, you're just the side piece. This is very intense energy for your challenge. I think there's a lot of questioning. I think that you are being made to really evaluate what your stance is, what your ethics and morals and values are. I think it's that serious for whomever I'm reading for. It's come to this point where you have been questioning what it is that you stand for. And that's always good. I always see that as good, because if you can question everything that you grew up with and everything that you believe, if you can really question it, and then at the end of all that questioning, either change your mind or become even more resolute about what it is that you've been believing this whole time, that's good. Because it, you know, especially when it comes to things like politics or ideals or preconceptions about things, notions about your own selfhood and identity, we should not be afraid to question. Not to the point where we just completely abandon ourselves, but we shouldn't be afraid to question it. I also think that it allows for a more well-rounded experience. So it's kind of like, I'll give you an example. So when I was younger, I used to be really moody because I'm a water sign, and so I'm very emotional, and my emotions are predominant in me. They dominate a lot of my personality. And I used to be very moody when I was a kid, and I used to tell people I came out of the womb grumpy. I used to say that to people. And one day, I don't even know, I remember how old I was. It just dawned on me, like, why are you telling people that? Like, you're a really kind person. And okay, now I hear the sirens. It's like an important message. It's just like, you're a good person, and sorry, you're a good person, and why are you essentially trying to push people away by telling them a story and a narrative that you built for yourself to try and push people away? Why do you continue to do that? So even in that, I questioned myself. I questioned my motives. And I kept asking those questions to try and figure out what was going on. So I feel as though, you know, maybe that's what's been keeping you up at night. Whatever this has to do with, it feels very serious. Like, this is not just a lackadaisical experience. It's like a throwaway or a one-off. I'm seeing those stories where people kind of leave their communities in order to find something better for themselves. Either if it's your small town community, or I'm seeing situations where people are like, they break away from cults or religious groups. And I'm not saying any one in particular. I'm just seeing those stories where People broke out of those situations because it finally dawned on them that what was happening in front of them no longer aligns with how they want to live. Okay, so we'll just leave it at that. So, pile 2, what is the lesson? Why did you have to go through, or are you going through all of this? It's really amazing. You have the poet, relationships, and vulnerability. So right away, I see somebody writing down their experiences. Maybe you're writing a book or an autobiography of what it is that you've gone through, making your particular mark through writing or expression of some kind. I see here this design in this corner here. It looks like a fingerprint, your own unique take, your own, Spirit just said, your corner of the world. Maybe that's an expression that you use. Oh, I'm just here in my little corner of the world. The poet talks about somebody who could speak in allegory or metaphor, somebody who has an eloquence with words or expression, somebody who is contemplative about the world around them and wants to create something artistic from that experience. There's also the word here, the words relationships and vulnerability. So it might take a lot for you to even express these ideas. Maybe they've been trapped inside of you until now, right? And so the lesson right now feels as though you've come to this point where you can no longer keep it inside. I'm sorry for the emergency response vehicle sounds, but I don't take anything for granted. It's like Spirit really wants to zero in on this for you. And so interesting too, because I was talking about fingerprints, and we get this image here, and it says the miser, stubbornness and inflexibility. So I see this, this is the clarifying card for the poet, and this is the lesson pile. What was the lesson? Maybe you were stuck in your ways. Maybe you were thinking, look at the, like it looks like bricks, doesn't it? They look like bricks. Stubbornness and flexibility. It's kind of like, I would rather throw stones. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. And maybe this was in the past. I would have rather thrown stones at somebody than talk about it or question it or try to break out of anything, because it also feels like maybe this is like this kind of explosion of emotion, and it's you trying to break free, break out of a cycle. And the way that you're doing it is by outwardly expressing. That Spirit wants me to really emphasize that it's an outward expression. You are either writing it down, you're expressing it through artwork, through dance, through poetry, through something that is public, something that feels visible to people, which is the message, authentic message here. Let me pull a clarifier for the poet and the miser, the lesson. Beautiful, amazing. The alchemist, balance, invention, and destruction. The alchemist. That's amazing, because like it feels, of course, like the Temperance card from the Major Arcana. It feels like we're taking pain and turning it into power, turning this into something we can use. You know, it's a Sunday morning when I'm recording this, and there was not a single sound all morning. Nothing. Now during your reading, it's kind of frustrating, but I understand why. It's like, this is really important for you to hear. And look, here's the quill again. Look at that. You are, well, okay, Spirit said mixing and concocting, right? But you are really taking all of these kind of disparate elements, right? We see an acorn, right? An acorn. From the acorn grows the mighty oak, right? This conch shell kind of reminds me of like when the creature finds an empty shell, they make it their home, the home on their back. I see crystals here. It's like you're taking all of these things in your life and you're mixing and mashing and coagulating and kind of alchemizing everything together it's almost like in order to present it to the world in a way that is not just palatable, but inspired. Like from your story, people will be inspired. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it ends beautifully. It's so great. Advice, I hope this resonates with you. Advice from Spirit, the Acolyte, new projects and learning. And of course, newness, being the Acolyte, that kind of reminds me of either a Page of Pentacles or a Page of Wands. This sense that we are moving forth in the world with a kind of renewed sense of self. We're trying out something new. We haven't explored this terrain, and Spirit is encouraging this. This is advice from Spirit. They are encouraging you to try new things, because you know what? Expressing pain and frustration and lessons, life lessons that you've learned, that's not easy, and it could be new to you. In fact, I think it is new to you. To do it in a public way. Here I see these scrolls here. It's almost like the scrolls unraveling, and you're going to be, Spirit just said the word recitation. You're going to be reciting whatever is on these pages. And look at this too, right? Hands around this big chalice like this. This is going to be your authentic offer to the world. This is kind of like a spiritual pact a spiritual contract that you made before you even got here. It's just like this was going to be a path for you, that you were going to communicate something out to the world that was going to have great influence. And how are people going to see you? The wise one, tradition and order. You having sage wisdom, and people are going to really remark upon your story and feel like they want to have inspired action as well. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a book or it could be on social media as well. I mean, I just started following a woman who, you know, she's kind of a social media mogul-ish, if that's what you can call it. She has experienced a certain level of success, but she always talks about where she came from. I can't remember her name off the top of my head because I just started following her, but she gives like really good advice, and it all comes from a place of experience. She experienced some health issues early on, addiction issues very early on in life. And only now in like her late 30s, I think, yeah, I think she's in her late 30s, has she come to some sort of success for herself that she herself says is success, right? So it could happen on social media as well. You could tell your story and it could get out to millions of people. You don't know until you do it, until you express it. It takes a lot of vulnerability. One last card, please, for advice from Spirit. One last card, please, for advice from Spirit for the collective. Anyone who's resonating with this message. Oh, that's so great. The Scholar, investigation and research, right? There's these tools of writing. There's there's the quill again. There it is again. The street, I mean, and the scroll and everything. It's like, this is amazing. It just really solidifies the whole reading that eventually your influence will not just allow you to get your message out to the world, but it will allow you to teach. Okay, I have a song in my head which is old, and it's the thing, I don't know if Karen Carpenter sang it. No, I don't know who sang it, but Karen Carpenter just came up in my head, so maybe Your Name is Karen, or I don't know. But it's a song that goes, sing a song, make it simple to last the whole night long. I really don't know I maybe have heard this song a few times in my life, but I don't remember all the lyrics. So please, if you can Google that, I feel like there's a message in there for you, but Spirit's not giving me the full thing. They just want you to listen to it. But it starts with like, sing a song, make it simple, and maybe that's all that needs to be said. Just kind of express yourself, make it simple, make it direct, and make it authentic. So that's your reading collective. I hope that it resonated. If it did, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Please set the bell notification to be updated as to when I post new readings. Thank you.